Hi, in this particular video we're going to be looking at the paper 2 for the November 2017 Edexcel Foundation paper. As always, please do stop the video, have a go at each of the questions and then compare your solutions. Each of the videos in the playlist is going to be about 20 minutes long. It's going to give you the opportunity then to have a go at each of the questions and spend about an hour's worth of fairly focused revision. If you do need any additional support, please don't hesitate to leave a comment. I'll always come back to you, or have a look on the rest of the channel, and there's lots of other videos with some more examples. I'll look forward to seeing you inside the video. Hi, this is the third video in the series where we're looking at the November 2018 maths paper for Edexcel, and it is the foundation tier. In the previous video we completed through to question number 24, so this is the final video in the playlist where we're going to be looking at 25 onwards. It should be a relatively straightforward, fairly quick video, I think, because we've only got a couple of questions to go, but please do stop the video, have a go at these particular questions and then compare your solutions. Okay, now this one is a little bit trickier. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a bit of a sketch first. Okay, and it says the gradient of a line is 3. Okay, well, what that basically means is that if we have a line on a grid, the first point A is 5, 9. So along to 5, up to 9, let's say roughly about there, that's point A. Okay, and that's perfectly fine. Okay, and then we know that B is a point with the coordinates of D15. Well, we know it's going to be up here somewhere because this is 15 somewhere, but it's also got a gradient of 3, which is a positive gradient. Okay, so what we're being asked to do is to find this x value when we know the y value is 15, and we know for B, and we know for A it's going to be 5 and 9. It is a positive gradient, therefore I can with some confidence say that it's going to go in that direction. It's going to be that sort of slope. Okay, now that might be as far as you get with this particular question, but it is worthwhile sketching it out, because even if you just get 1 mark or some sort of credit, then at least it's good for you to do. Okay, now there is a way of working out the gradient of a line, and the formula that we use is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so let's have a go at plugging those numbers in. What we're saying is that 15 is y2, it's the second value of y, and 9 is y1. D is going to be x2, and 5 is going to be x1. Now, when we put this into the formula, it's going to be equal to 3, which is the gradient. So what we've actually got is y2 is 15 minus y1, which is 9, divided by D, which is x2, minus 5, which is x1, and that equals 3. Now that looks a little bit scary canary at the moment, particularly if you're not used to dealing with these sorts of things, but hopefully we'll be able to kind of work it out. So I'm going to write this a bit more simply as 15 minus 9 is going to equal 6 over D minus 5 equals 3. Okay, now the problem I've got immediately is this denominator of D minus 5. It's no good there. It's not going to help me very much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply both sides by D minus 5, because if I times that by D minus 5, I actually lose it, which is great. Now, the problem is I've got to do the same on the right-hand side and multiply that by D minus 5, because I've got to keep my algebra balanced. But it looks a little bit easier to deal with, because now I've got 6 equals 3 times D minus 5. Okay, so let's expand out the brackets and see where that gets us. Okay, so I've got 6 equals 3 times D is 3D minus 15. So 3 times d is 3d, and 3 times minus 5 is minus 15. Okay, so we're getting a little bit closer. We're going to try and get the value of d. So the problem I've got now is I want it to equal d, but I've got this minus 15. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 15 to both sides. Again, I lose it. I got 3d, and I've got 6 plus 15. Okay, so 15 plus 6, I should have just written that as 21 equals 3d. Okay, so the next thing, I've got 3 lots of d. I want 1 lot of d. I'm going to divide through by 3, divide through by 3. So d equals 21 divided by 3 is 7. Now you'll notice that I've not attempted to make this read from left to right. I've not written d equals 7. It's perfectly fine to write this as reading from right to left, and one of the kind of skills that you need for algebra is to be able to read both ways. So it's perfectly legitimate now if I want to write out d equals 7, just make it a little bit more comfortable to read. Okay, so if you're not sure about that, again, please do have a look at some of the playlist videos on dealing with gradients of straight lines. There's a couple of questions which are similar to this. Okay, let's have a look then at question number 26. So question number 26, we've got expand and simplify. Okay, well, again, there are a couple of different methods. I see people using partitioning and FOIL and all sorts of things like that. I personally don't. What I would do is I'd say, okay, I'm going to ignore this plus 2. I'm just going to deal with 5x. So 5x times 2x is going to be 10x squared. And 5x times minus 3 is going to be minus 15x, okay? I don't have a problem with you doing it any other way. This is just the way I do it. It just makes more sense to me because now I've completely finished with 5x. Now I'm going to deal with the plus 2. So plus 2 times 2x is plus 4x, and plus 2 times minus 3, well, plus times a minus is a minus, and 2 times 3 is 6, so it's going to be minus 6. And then really all we've got to do is just kind of tidy that up a little bit. So we've got 10x squared, and then I've got minus 15x plus 4x. So minus 15 plus 4 is minus 11x, and then minus 6 at the end. And that actually is the answer to this particular question. Okay, there are some examples on the channel of similar sorts of questions, so please do have a look at those. Okay, part B of this is factorize. Now this will cause a few problems for some people. I know it's a little bit of a tricky one, but basically we're looking for two numbers that when you multiply them together make plus 3, and when you add them together make plus 4. Well, plus 3 can be made by multiplying plus 3 and plus 1 together, because 3 times 1 is 3 if you multiply it, but when you add it, it's going to be 3 plus 1, which is equal to 4, okay? Now, because we know those two numbers, we can write this out as x plus 3 multiplied by x plus 1, okay? Hopefully that's all right. There are some practices on those. It is towards the end of the paper, so we are verging now into sort of grade 4, grade 5 type territory. So this is well worth practicing. And if you've been looking before at maybe higher paper, you might have done these at school anyway. But please have a look on the channel or add a comment below. I'll always come back to you. Okay, final question on this paper. And if you've got this far in the paper, you're doing fantastically well. So write the number in standard form. Well, the problem with this one is it's a horrible number, isn't it? Really difficult to read. So what we do is standard form is where we make the first number between 1 and 9. Now, in this particular case, it's going to be 7. But what I've done is I've moved the decimal point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and I've moved it in the negative direction. So it's going to be 7.547. Don't forget, I can't lose those numbers. I've got to keep them, but I've got to tell somebody that actually I've moved the decimal point 5 places in the negative direction. So that's going to be times 10 to the minus 5. And all this does is it says you've moved the decimal point 5 places. Okay, so next little bit then is write that as an ordinary number. Okay, well, that means, and this is a positive one, so I've moved the decimal point 4 places in the positive direction. So if I just write there 3.42, move it once, twice, 3, 4 times, and it goes there. So there's a couple of zeros that I need to put in there. So that's going to give me 34,200. Okay. Very last question on the paper is part C. Pop that into a calculator. What I suggest you do is, although it's very difficult to see, I'll just try and sort of show you. I would suggest you use the fraction key here, okay? So if you put the fraction key in, it will allow you then to type in these numbers. Now these indices, these 10 to the power of 4, is going to be this key here, okay? So just be a little bit careful. It's not the purpose of this particular video to kind of go through all of that, but if you type it in, hopefully you'll get an answer, and I don't know whether people will breathe a sigh of relief on this one, but you'll get an answer 3.082 multiplied by 10 to the power of 15, which is a very big number indeed. Okay, that's it. We are finished. Hopefully it's been useful to you. Please do add a comment below. I'll always come back to you. Add a like, subscribe to the channel, keep YouTube happy, and I look forward to posting paper 3 in the next few days or so. Hope it's been useful, and I'll look forward to seeing you inside the next video.